All righty, welcome. Happy Hot Wednesday. Let's start lying down today. What a good idea. And as you lie down, just pay attention to all the touch points between you and the earth. Just find the perfect location for your heels and your sacrum bone. You might like to rock side to side just to feel a sense of balance at the base of your spine. Adjust your shoulder blades and upper arms and forearms, fingertips. And rock the head side to side a couple of times until you find what feels like a balanced position for the head and neck. And then when you feel super comfy, just float your hands to the belly. And try out a really comfortable position for your hands here so the hands are not weighing the belly down. You might want to go high on the abdomen. You might want to go low down near the pubic bone. And start to bring all of your attention into your palms. Notice that you can feel the texture of your clothing underneath your palms and the radiant heat of your belly. And now notice also that the belly rises and falls with the tide of your breath. Allowing the breath to rise and fall naturally. Just watch through the touch receptors in your palms. Each time the in-breath comes in, the belly floats up into your hands, and every time you breathe out, the belly sinks down away from your palms. See if you can let your bottom row of teeth hang away from your top row of teeth. And let your tongue go soft in the mouth. Let the skin across your scalp go slack. Every time the mind goes wandering, which it will habitually do thousands of times, just draw your attention kindly back into your palms and watch the breath rise and fall. You'll notice every time you come back into the hands, the breath softens and smooths out. And every time the mind wanders, the breath gets a little shallow or ragged. Start to focus now on your out breath. Let your in breath take care of itself. Every time you breathe out, let it be softer and longer and smoother than the out breath before. You might like to take a whispering sound in the back of your throat as you breathe out. This might help to smooth the lumps in the breath. Or some of us might like to take a count on the out breath, 6 or 7 or 8. Each of these techniques will just be something to draw our attention back to so the out breath can soften and smooth out. As you keep noticing the falling tide of the exhale, you might now be able to rest your attention for a moment, for a pulse, at the end point of the out breath. before the inhale comes in. The tide falls and the attention rests in the pulse of emptiness. Trusting that the in-breath will come into you when it's ready. Just a few more breaths here. Noticing if the mind goes still when the breath pauses at the end of the out-breath. When you feel ready, you can float your palms together in front of your chest and set an intention for your practice. Whatever your heart most loudly yearns for. And we'll join together for the chant of Om. When you feel ready, now you can bend your knees and plant your feet and take a strap around the ball of your right foot. If you guys got a strap, you can maybe do a mad dash to get one. Just in the basket over here. So press the 3 points of the right foot towards the ceiling, hug the arches of the feet down towards you. Let the weight of your arms do the work here so you can soften the back of your upper arms down beside you. Chest is soft, throat is soft and open. Right leg can be straight or bent, you choose. No prizes for either one. Keep having a sense of hugging the inner and outer arches of the feet towards you. Maybe you even flex the toes a little more strongly. Can you come back now to the soft, long exhale and notice the self-soothing mechanism on the out-breath? Like you can make this moment okay, even in the face of what for some of us is great limitation. One of the ways to consider our yoga practice is learning to work with obstacles rather than resist the things that show up in our life as obstacles. When you feel ready, you can release the strap and place it around the ball of the left foot. The right leg might be bent and the right sole planted, or maybe you're extending the right leg to the front of the room. Just choose your option. Let the bottom row of teeth soften away from the top row. Let the tongue go slack. So we're practicing meeting limitation with a sense of ease and grace. Notice you can find that on the out-breath. When you feel ready, you can release the strap. Plant the soles of the feet, excuse me, coming to ankle to knee, right ankle across your left thigh. Maybe you hug the left thigh in towards you, maybe not. Once again, try to minimize the work that you're doing in your shoulders, in your chest, and your throat here. Let it all be soft. Flex those right toes so your right knee feels stable. So the rotation that's happening in your right hip joint doesn't transfer into your knee joint. We want happy knees. When you feel ready, you could land the sole of the left foot again, shift your hips over to the right and come into a figure four twist. Legs stay in that figure four shape. And you might like to extend the arms at shoulder height, really spread and stretch your fingers so you can feel the wingspan, both shoulder blades planted firmly and the weight of your skull resting. So the lower half of you can release muscles of the mid back and lower back, muscles of the abdomen and the pelvis and the buttocks and the thighs. 2 more soft, long out breaths here. When you feel ready, bring your legs back to center, realign your spine, and come to the second side, ankle to knee. Notice the tension that naturally rises in the face. Now you can let it go as you breathe all the way out. And I want you to feel okay to let your mouth hang open if it naturally wants to in any pose at all. The idea of having a soft, spacious throat is part of the way that we bring softness and ease to limitation. When you feel ready, shift your hips left and rock over to the right. Just notice if you want to take your gaze in the opposite direction to the knees, that might feel like a lovely counterbalance. Help you to feel into both of the shoulders. Let the skull be really heavy here. Two more soft, long out breaths. You might notice in the twist that you're more aware of the action of the belly emptying. It might be easier to come back to when you're twisting. When you feel ready, bring your legs back through center. We'll roll over onto your side and make your way up onto hands and knees. So have your stance a little longer than tabletop, and I just want you to explore rocking forwards and backwards in time with your breath. As you breathe out, sit back towards child's pose, put the crease into your hip joints. And when the in-breath comes into you, feel as if you can rock forwards and take the crease out of your hip joints. Let this be soft and natural. Maybe you can listen in to the rising and falling tide of the breath and be guided, led by the breath. Such a unique aspect of a yoga practice is that we let the breath lead and the mind follow. And then you can start to draw some circles with your navel in one direction to begin with. And then in the second direction. Keep letting your throat and tongue soften. Come back to rocking forwards and backwards. Beautiful. And then coming back to tabletop position, and we'll step the right foot forwards now and grab your strap. So we're in a low lunge with the fingertips a little wider than the shoulders. Reach up with the strap. And first of all, paying attention to your foundations. Let me just adjust the picture for you. Paying attention to your foundations. So really pressing the 3 points of the feet down, hugging the arches of the feet up. And now have a sense that you can hug a block forwards with your inner thighs so the lumbar spine lengthens, tailbone tucks under, pelvis comes into neutral. As you breathe out now, draw the elbows down and back and feel as if you want to stretch the strap really long. Breathe in to reach up. Breathe out to draw elbows down and back, hands pulling wider and wider apart. Just 2 more times at your own breath pace. Keep steadying yourself by pressing into the 3 points of the feet and hugging the arches up. And imagine you're hugging a block up with your inner thighs. Last time through here, exhale, hands reaching wide. Breathe in to reach up. And then you can release the strap. Just place it at the top of your mat. Breathe in to reach up. Slide the shoulder blades down the back. Turn the upper arms out. Feel the space in your throat. Then bring hands to Anjali Mudra and twist over to the right. If you wish, you can tuck the back toes and lift into a high lunge variation. Maybe it feels lovely to stay on the support of the back knee. Beautiful. Bring your hands around your front foot and come back into all fours. Let's take a block between the inner thighs. As you breathe in, tuck your toes under. Oh, thanks, Jilly. Let me know if you guys need extra blocks, just wave at me. As you breathe in, lift the chest, lift to sitting bones. As you breathe out, hug the block forwards and round through the back of the body. So maybe you keep the eyes closed here so the breath can lead. Inhale, hugging the block backwards, front of the body opens. Exhale, hugging the block forwards, back of the body rounds. Gaze drawing up to the midbrain as you breathe in. And your gaze sliding down the nose tip towards the navel as you breathe out. Just 2 more times. See how effortless and natural you can allow this to be. The combination of the breath and the body moving together. So the mind is kind of just watching on. Beautiful. You can release the block now. Step the left foot forwards, come into a low lunge. Grab your strap again. Set up for the second side. So start to feel the hands pulling away like you want to break the strap. As you breathe out, draw the elbows down and back. Breathing in to reach up. Breathe out, pulling the strap as you descend. So a couple more times here, and it's quite natural when we work with opening through the shoulders that the tension that we store in the shoulders rises up into the throat and the jaw. So I want you to feel free to lower your jaw, let the mouth hang open. Imagine that you can lift up through the soft palate in the roof of the mouth. And then release the strap. Reach up, spread and stretch the fingers, turn upper arms out. So just drink in that space that we've created across the shoulder girdle. And then hands to Anjali Mudra and twist over to the left. Notice if you can feel your exhale more clearly here because of the twist in the abdomen. Low lunge or high lunge variation. Take what suits. And then bring your hands around the front foot. We'll step back into plank pose. I want you to feel free, particularly on a hot morning like this morning. You can modify with your knees down if that feels good for you. Hold here for 3 breaths. Imagine you can hug a block up and forwards with your inner thighs. And then lowering down, knees, chest, and chin. Breathe into baby cobra, lift the chest and hug the hands back towards the feet, hug the feet towards the hands. 2 more breaths here. Notice the inhale becoming dominant. Maybe you can still feel the hugging of the belly on the out breath back towards your spine. Press back through all fours now and lift into downward facing dog. Just swing your hips, pedal out the feet, whatever you need to do to explore equilibrium in your downward facing dog. Soft knees is a great idea for many of us, so the front and back of the body can find length. And then we'll tiptoe all the way to the top of the mat, Uttanasana, forward fold when you get there. Let the feet be wide and the knees be soft. Take the crease out of the back of the neck. Let the head hang heavy. 3 soft, full out breaths here. You might count the out breath. You might take the whispering of Ujjayi. On the next in-breath, lift into flat back, and we'll hold here for 3 breaths, hands to shins. Let the knees be soft, and imagine you can hug a block strongly backwards with your inner thighs. Feel the length down the midline from your crown down to your base. And as you next breathe out, fold forwards. Come all the way up to standing on your next in-breath, circle your arms wide, reach up and look up. And come back into Tadasana as you breathe out. Release your arms by your side. Feel down into the feet. Big toe mound, little toe mound, and heel evenly pressing down. Arches of the feet hugging up, like when we had a strap around the ball of the foot when we were lying down to start with. Feel the imaginary block between your thighs, and can you hug the block up? So you're super steady, super stable, super grounded. As you breathe in, reach up and look up. As you breathe out, folding forwards. Halfway lift and lengthen on your next in-breath. And as you breathe out, we'll step the right foot backwards and come into a low lunge. Wait for the in-breath, reach up. Wait for the out breath now and rock backwards into half splits. Hands might even come to blocks here. Wait for the in-breath, reach up. Feel the front line of the body open. Maybe the gaze draws up. Hands to Anjali Mudra now and twist over to the left. Take your variation. 3 soft, long out breaths here. Notice that you can soothe yourself in the limitation that this balancing posture provides. Hands to the earth now. Take a breath in as you step back into plank. You can add a vinyasa flow, knees, chest, and chin, or chaturanga dandasana. Or maybe you press back into downward facing dog. Or come into child's pose for 3 breaths. Re-establish your foundations. Feel into the outer circle of the palms and press them down. Can you hug the inner circle of the palms up, like you're drinking the earth's energy up through your armpits? At the next exhale, step, walk, or float to the top of the mat. On your in-breath, halfway lift. As you breathe out, forward fold. Come all the way up to standing on an in-breath. Circle your arms, spread and stretch your fingers, reach up, look up. As you breathe out, Tadasana, mountain pose. Just reset here for 3 breaths. Stabilize through the 3 points of the feet. Activate the arches. Activate your inner thighs. Turn your palms forward so front and back of the chest come to match. Next time you want to breathe in, reach up. Next time you breathe out, soft knees folding forwards. Halfway lift on an in-breath. This time left foot steps back, low lunge. Back knee softens. Wait for the in-breath, reach up. As you breathe out, hands come to the earth, half splits. That front knee can be bent or straight, you choose. Wait for the in-breath, rebend and reach. As you breathe out, hands to heart center and twist to the right. Take your variation. 3 soft, full out breaths here. Let the tongue go slack. Let the muscles around your eyes soften. Hands around the front foot. Plank pose, variation, knees lowered or lifted. Can you soften your gaze between your fingertips? Have a sense of strongly hugging a block up and forwards here. So you can add a vinyasa flow, or maybe you press back into downward facing dog and skip the vinyasa. Maybe you come onto hands and knees for child's pose. Next, inhale, raising your right leg up and back. And as you breathe out, hug the knee into the chest and then step through into your warrior 2. Take a moment to set up your foundations. Inhale to reach up. Let's take the right hand, the front hand, to the base of the thoracic spine, to T12. Left hand reaches high. And then guide the fingertips lovingly towards each other as you draw the elbows away. Gomukhasana arms. Notice the tension that might come into the face, how we tend to fight resistance, and instead, soft face, and allow the out-breath to come out of you more smoothly 3 times. Follow the exhale all the way to the bottom. This is a way we can just soothe ourselves back into grace. You can release your arms as you breathe in, reverse your warrior. As you breathe out, Trikonasana. Right leg straightens, hand comes to your shin or to a block. Feel into the front and back of your belly and the front and back of your chest. Explore what it's like to have equilibrium there. Soft gaze to the side wall or to the upper thumb. Next time you breathe in, hands to hips, come up to standing. We will parallel the feet, take a wide-legged forward fold. Hug the arches of the feet away from the earth as you press the 3 points of the feet down. You can soften the knees. Maybe you take hold of opposite elbows. Maybe hands come to blocks. You might even like to interlace the fingers behind you and draw the knuckles overhead. Just exploring an option that you can soothe yourself in. 5 long, soft out breaths. Take Ujjayi Pranayama, the whispering sound like a distant ocean. Or maybe you count the out breath, 6 or 7 or 8 or 9. Smoothing out the lumps in the breath. When you feel ready, hands to hips will lift all the way up. Come to face the front of the mat, plank pose. Hold here for 3 breaths. Knees lowered or lifted, choose the variation that feels loving. And then we'll come down into forearm plank. Once again, knees lowered or lifted, you choose your variation. Have a sense that you can keep hugging a block up and forwards so the lumbar spine gets long. And if you'd like to, you can tiptoe the feet closer to the elbows. Keep the knees a little soft. Maybe they're bent generously as you lift the sitting bones up and back. Press the forearms forwards. Feel as if you can draw your chest through your upper arm bones. Gaze down, the nose tip towards the navel, 3 long exhales. Beginning to tiptoe back into forearm plank, lift up into plank pose. You might like to add a vinyasa flow here, or skip the vinyasa and press back into down dog. Or for a few breaths, rest in child's pose. Just take the option that feels nurturing, soothing, loving. Next time you want to breathe in, raise your left leg up and back. Exhale, knee hugs into the chest. Step the left foot softly through warrior 2. Bring the back of your left hand, front hand down to the base of thoracic spine. Back hand reaches overhead. Lovingly reach fingertips towards each other and draw the elbows away. Some of us might practice this for 20 years and still the fingertips don't touch. I want you to let go of that being a measure of success. And instead, just feel into limitation and meet it with ease. 2 more soft, long out breaths. Maybe the face is soft, maybe the jaw is soft. Release your arms, reverse your warrior on an in-breath. Trikonasana, triangle pose as you breathe out. Can you find a little bit more length in the left side body to match the right? Next time you breathe in, come up to standing, hands to the hips. Take a wide-legged forward fold. Just experiment with what option feels lovely. The fold at the hips happens more easily with soft knees, so let that be a way that you make more length from base to crown. So we're not just slumped and rounded through the lower back and mid-back. Two more soft, long out breaths, smoothing out the lumps of the breath. Notice the pause at the end. Beautiful. When you feel ready, you can heel toe your feet in a little closer and find Malasana. Palms to Anjali Mudra, elbows inside the knees. Just notice if it feels lovely to sit up onto a block here, just so you can feel evenly through big toe, little toe, and heel. Some of us tend to be all rocked onto the inside arches of the feet, and a block under the sitting bones affords us a little bit more evenness, stability through our foundations. Let the chest lift a little as you press into the palms and draw the inner circles of the palms away. Soft jaw, soft tongue. Two more breaths. Feel into limitation and use the exhale to bring softness, self-soothing, pacifying. It's like the feeling of, it's okay, my love. Beautiful. When you feel ready, you can gracefully or awkwardly come to sit down onto your bottom. Bring the legs over to the right-hand side. Press the right fingertips down and open through the left side of your body. And can you just feel into balance between front and back of the belly, front and back of the chest here. So we're not kind of slumping at all. We have a sense that front and back of the spine are even. And then we're opening through the left side. Let your jaw relax, your tongue soften, your brow soften. When you feel ready, come over to the second side. Some of us like to sit up onto a blanket here, just because it gives us a little bit more access. Experiment with whether your gaze wants to fall down to the earth. That might feel really lovely, or to the side wall, or to the upper hand. Find a variation with your gaze that gives you a little bit more openness, softness. When you feel ready, you can release. Come to lie down on the back. Bend your knees and plant your feet here. Lift the hips up and slide a block underneath the sacrum. You choose what height. If you're coming onto the highest setting here, make sure the center of the sacrum is really firmly held by the block, so you can just release any tension in the hips. Plant the feet so you feel steady. If you're on the lowest setting of the block, you might like to extend the legs to the front of the room and let the feet rock out to the side. So feel as if the hip creases in the front of your hips can just soften and open like they're being ironed out. Slowly. The weight of the sacrum is held, the weight of the shoulder blades and the skull held by the earth. See how much of your weight you can entrust to the floor beneath you. Let your tongue go quiet right at the very root where it joins the throat. Let the muscles on your cheekbones go soft. Two more soft, long out breaths. All the way to the bottom. Notice the pulse of emptiness before the inhale comes in. When you feel ready, press the feet down, lift the hips up, slide the block out. And you can stretch out long for Shavasana. If there's anything missing from your practice, such as an inversion or a more twisting, please feel free to do that now. Maybe you can let your palms rest open to the morning sky. Give space between your upper arms and your side ribs. Just feel into the length and softness of your out breath all the way to the bottom. As if the bones in the back of you get heavier every time you breathe out. And as if the earth rises up more resolutely to hold you, to cradle you. As each out breath softens. You might like to stay resting just as you are. Please be my guest. Start to take some deeper in-breaths and hug your knees into your chest. Stretch out really long. Maybe you want to roll over from one side to the next and back again a few times. And take your time to roll over to one side and slowly come up to a comfortable seat and bring your palms to touch. And we'll seal our practice together with the chant of Om. Namaste.